One Las Vegas lawmaker says a bill to try to save lives is very personal. It's called the Right to Try bill for those who've been told they don't have long to live.
My husband last year was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. The doctor told us it was terminal. Mid-May, he did announce to me that my husband probably wouldn't make it till 4th of July.
To save her husband's life, Assemblywoman Heidi Kasama of Las Vegas District 2 says she, quote, moved mountains to get him the best treatment possible at the comprehensive cancer centers. He is now cancer-free. She says she wants others to have a fighting chance through AB 188, the Right to Try bill.
So it wasn't just blanket drugs for cancer. They worked with his genetics. We should be able to have that personal decision if we want to try something.
In 2015, the legislature passed a first version of the Right to Try bill. It allowed Nevadans who were terminally ill to seek drugs in phase 1 trials, very early in experimental stages and years away from FDA approval. Other states have followed Nevada's lead in recent years. Kasama's bill would expand on a new horizon in research, clinical trials for an individual based on your DNA.
Right now, what we're seeing is our treatments have changed because now we're doing targeted treatments to one person with their genetics and their DNA, which we didn't really have so much before. Patient has to have consent, and we are relieving the doctors, the clinics, and the hospitals of any liability because everybody understands that this is experimental, but it is saving lives.
All these trials, Kasama says, are FDA approved. She hopes lawmakers can consider this bill to give others a chance.
But it has been quite a journey. It's been a very personal journey. Just like my personal story, why don't we want everybody to have a chance like that?
The Clark County Medical Society didn't have a position. The bill is still in committee, but the hearings have been canceled with the snow. We've also reached out a few times, but have not heard back just yet from Assembly Democrats on the issue.